We're RIG, Realty Investment Group, because of the hands. Come on. Deep breath, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Welcome to Frawley. How many is the first time at Frawley? This is my ears. I live 5 minutes door to door. They all know me here. I love these guys. So I'm going to ask, in addition to what they ask, I think most of you came hungry and thirsty. We ask that you tip. If you're on Facebook, please like their Facebook page. These guys here are awesome. I think everybody's figured out the red green by now. If you don't, and your red's up, you're going to be hungry and thirsty tonight. You've been doing the informal networking, and we're going to go. I like to go through the announcements as fast as possible, stick through them. We're going to do that. You can go ahead and start thinking about it. Everybody's going to get 30 seconds to do your elevator speech. I have to offer, and my phone number is, and I've already been talked to several times tonight. When you get that phone number, go slowly and clearly.
Yes, because Lynn's writing it down.
And some of you may have been here expecting to get some CE credits and talk about hard money. Our buddy Joe, he's traveling all over the country, and somehow something went awry and his flights did not work out. We are going to have him here in August. So Friday afternoon, I sent this young lady a message going, help, I may need you. And she agreed. We found out Sunday night that Joe wasn't coming. So Nicole's going to join me up here tonight. We're going to do something a little less formal tonight. We're just going to have a conversation and have you guys join us. So,
yeah. Due
diligence. You hear me at the Breakfast Club. You hear me here. You may hear about some great person. He walks on, he or she walks on water. You may hear about a project that's just too good to be true. Guess what? It may be, or it could be true. So your job is to ask around the room, ask around the city, and say, hey, do you know about this person, or have you heard about this deal? Do your own due diligence, please. And we're all over social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Meetup, YouTube, Bigger Pockets, all that kind of good stuff. And this is a big thing that we started back. I started on Clubhouse back last August. And actually that number is wrong. Right now we've got over 9,000 members in the Creative Birth Strategies room. I have a class, or I have a chat every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Tim Henry with Invest Success, my partner. He does one at 9:30 Tuesday mornings, and he picks a different subject. We each bring people in. Well, I bring people in and let them speak. Tim kind of runs his show. Joe Scarice was to be speaking tonight. He hosts 2 awesome rooms on Saturday mornings and Sunday morning with a lot of good knowledge there. On Sunday night, there's a guy that talks about wholesaling every Sunday night. And then Wednesday night, there's a guy who comes on and talks about the A to Z in investing, different topic every week. So there's a lot of stuff on Clubhouse. There's some Jerry Springer stuff on there. So I'd say be selective in the channels you can follow, but there's a lot of good networking on there, a lot of good education. There's a lot of deals that are made. I personally joined somebody on the East Coast, somebody on the West Coast. They did a deal. JH, and a friend of mine, she's down in Hawaii. She came on the group. I got a friend in Colorado that has a condo she needs to sell. And like, that's funny. I'm in Colorado. I know a guy that's looking for a condo. Let me put you together. And they did the deal. It's a great resource. And guess what? It's free. You can get an app for your phone, which is clubhouse.com, or you can get an app for your computer. I use my computer, so I got all kinds of screens. It's clubdeck.app. If you want to know more information about that, come see me, because I love Clubhouse. I really do. My wife do, like, you are always on there. There's good, crazy stuff on there. Welcome to the RIG for the first time. We love people coming for the first time. We love people that come the second, third, even more. And our members that have signed up, we have 3 levels of membership. The individual, say, I'm just going to join, we get $100 a year. If, say, the mother-daughter team here, when they joined, they did the partner membership. They saved a little bit of money. And then if you got a business, you pay a little bit more, but we give you a little bit more bang for your buck. There he is. Okay. We'll give you a little bit more bang for your buck. What we do is once a month, I pick a business member. I bring them up front and give them about 5 to 10 minutes to pitch their deals and their business, their specialty. And tonight is no different other than our guy, he's waving at me. You hear me, brother?
Hey Jim, how are
Go
you?
ahead and unmic. Tonight, all the way from California, he was here until recently. He was at our last picnic, he was in a couple meetings. My buddy, my friend, Mr. Daniel Goldberg, he's a musician, but he's pretty cool. He plays bass. And he'll go into somewhere like this and just play a soundtrack and just solo bass stuff. He's a rock star. So I'm gonna lay my mic down and Daniel, you take over, brother. You tell me when to move the slides.
Cool. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate the intro. And I spent about 1 year in Denver and definitely enjoyed my time visiting the group and meeting everyone. For both kind of personal reasons and just kind of felt like essentially half my family's here in San Diego, and Denver was a fun adventure, but my long-term home is San Diego. I'll definitely still be visiting out and hopefully can still swing by the group occasionally, and especially for the summer event, and bring my bass out and jam one time for everyone. But as for business, when I first joined the group, you guys will probably remember me. The name of my company was House Lending. Nothing actually changed from my perspective. Essentially, the parent company, Rock 360, acquired Finance of America Commercial, and all of the house lending people, we were rebranded as Finance of America Commercial. Essentially, Finance of America Commercial has been around for quite a long time. They have a big name in the industry in terms of going to conferences and have a big nationwide presence already. So that was part of the game plan for why Rock 360 acquired them. And essentially, I was just rebranded. So the loan programs are the same. The underwriting process is the same. Nothing has really changed except for my email signature and obviously our marketing brochures and all that fun stuff. But anyways, the presentation today is kind of giving you a look between essentially kind of what I do on a day-to-day basis when I'm talking to both borrowers and brokers in terms of what information do I need to pre-screen a loan scenario. And we kind of focus on residential investment properties. So no home loans. These are all either rehab, fix and flips, ground up construction, or DSCR rentals. And we have some multifamily programs as well. But none of our programs require tax returns. There's no DTI ratios. It's really more about screening the property for its ARV on a rehab loan to make sure there's enough profit in the deal. And then on the DSCR rental side, making sure that the rental income covers the primary expenses on the property. So we'll start off with a kind of a fix and flip scenario. Basically, borrowers buying the property, going to be putting some rehab into the property with the intent to sell the property. And essentially this pre-screen questionnaire are the questions that I will ask to either a mortgage broker or a borrower directly in order for me to estimate what LTV, what leverage is available, and also estimate the pricing as well. So starting off for a kind of just classic fix and flip scenario, the first question we're going to ask is how many deals has the borrower completed in the last 3 years? So for our programs, experience is the biggest factor in determining the available leverage. So first-time investors start at 70% of purchase price and 100% of rehab funds. And then our most experienced investors, experience level 5, once a borrower's completed at least 5 deals in the last 2 years, we can do up to 85% of purchase price or even 90% in certain scenarios and 100% of rehab budget. And then obviously going from a first timer to a experienced 5, the leverage increases from 70 to 75 to 80, et cetera, all the way up to either 85 or 90% of the purchase price. Next question, approximate mid credit score. The credit score doesn't affect the leverage explicitly, but it will affect the interest reserve requirements. So all borrowers are required to bring 1 month of interest payments to closing. For borrowers with lower credit scores, underwriting may require 3 or 6 months. If the score is between, around 650 or so, if the score is below 620, that's going to be a mandatory 12 months of interest required at closing. those monies will get refunded. So if the borrower, finishes the project in month 3 and sells the project in month 4, and they put 12 months of interest reserve at closing, then they'll get refunded the 8 months back. So essentially it's prepaid interest that will get refunded when the property is sold if it's required. Typically, if 680 credit or above, you don't have to worry about that. Next question, address or location of the subject property. Sorry, Jim, I'm still on just going through the first. There we go. So address subject property, we typically, we can lend in more rural or remote areas, but the leverage is going to be cut to 60 or 65% of purchase. So that's why I like to know that question up front. If you're dealing with major metropolitan areas, and essentially if you think the comps are going to be within 2.5 miles of the subject property, that's kind of the sniff test that underwriters are looking for to be comfortable offering the higher leverage, then it's not going to be an issue. Purchase price, rehab budget, estimated ARV, those numbers are all needed to calculate the profit in the deal. As a firm, we believe that if the deal is penciling profitably, the borrower is making money, the lender is making money, everyone involved in the transaction is getting their cut, then it's going to lead to lower issues and lower default rates. And that's a big part of our screening. If, essentially we need to see that the borrower is making at least $15,000 in profit and 30% cash on cash ROI. Those are the two metrics that underwriters are always looking for on these fix and flip deals to make sure there's enough profit in the deal. And when a borrower gives me these numbers, if I run the numbers and I'm seeing that it's only, flat P&L or showing, negative, not penciling correctly, then there's really no reason to order the appraisal. I don't want to be wasting the borrower's time because it's not going to get through underwriting if it's not showing some type of profit. And then the last question, is the borrower a licensed GC, real estate agent, or other construction industry professional? That can help increase the initial advance. So if the borrower is a real estate agent, we can start at 75% of purchase and 100% of rehab funds, even if they haven't completed any deals. If the borrower is a licensed GC, we can start at 80, 100. And then same idea, engineers, licensed architects, they all get a bump in the leverage, even if they haven't completed any previous deals. The last part of this slide is regarding the BRRRR strategy. So if the borrower is intending on keeping the property as a rental and not selling it, then we're going to have to get a couple of additional data points to make sure that the property is still cash flowing from a rental perspective. So especially on multi-unit properties, these programs are for 1 to 4 unit properties. A lot of times when borrowers are rehabbing duplexes, triplexes, or quadplexes, especially on a quadplex, right? You may not get a lot of bang for your buck in terms of the ARV on the property for a quadplex, but it's going to cash flow really well. So if it cash flows really well and the DSCR is strong, we may be able to still pencil out good leverage on the rehab loan because it's penciling out strongly as a rental exit. So we're going to ask for the rental income, estimated taxes, and insurance, and with an HOAs if applicable, and those additional data points will help to show that it's a strong rental property. Okay, now we're ready for the next slide. Thank you, Jim. Okay, so next loan program is our ground up construction program. This is one of the harder programs to qualify for from an experience perspective. So underwriting wants to see at least 3 previous ground up deals completed, or it could be, let's say, 1 or 2 ground up deals plus a number of heavy gut rehabs. So the underwriting really wants to see similar previous ground up experience in terms of the size of the construction budget and also the location of the property in order to qualify for one of our ground up loans. And it's a similar evaluation process in terms of the credit score, asking about the land purchase price, construction budget, ARV. All of those data points are needed to make sure that the deal is still penciling profitably from a flip perspective. And then very similar, especially with ARV softening here in the last year or so and interest rates going up, there are a lot of builders now that are doing the build to rent strategy. And kind of just holding on to properties and keeping them as rentals until the market goes back up and they think they can sell it for a higher profit. So if that's the case and the builder is intending on doing a build to rent project, then it's the same idea. We're going to ask for what do you think the monthly rental income is, estimated taxes, insurance, HOAs, etc. And that will help to show that it's a profit. It still can be a strong rental property from a DSCR perspective. And now we can go on to the last category, last slide here, which is talking more specifically about our DSCR rentals. So for a single property rental, the first question we're going to ask is how many rentals does the borrower currently own or have owned in the last 2 years? The experience score isn't quite as important, I would say, on DSCR rentals versus kind of the bridge, kind of ground up construction and rehab loans. The interest rate will move a handful of basis points as a borrower shows they have more rental experience, but it doesn't explicitly affect the leverage. The credit score of the borrower on DSCR rentals, that does explicitly affect the available leverage. Our minimum credit score is 660. And for 660 to 679 credit, you can only get 60 LTV on a cash out and 65 on a purchase. For borrowers that have at least 740 credit, our maximum leverage is 80% of purchase price on a purchase or rate term refi, and up to 75 LTV on a cash out. So the credit score, I should say, is much more important on a DSCR rental versus a bridge loan. Next question, address of subject property. For permanent rental loans, it's much tougher to get a rural or remote property through the system. Maybe at like 50 LTV or lower, can we consider like a rental loan? It's kind of the same idea with the comps. So for a rental loan, underwriting really wants to see both sales comps and rental comps within 2.5 miles of the subject property. So when I get a DSCR rental scenario, one of the first things I'll do is I'll go on Zillow, and instead of looking at for sale, I'll switch it to for rent. And I want to make sure that there's a good amount of purple dots for other similar rentals showing in the area, hopefully within a few miles of the subject property, because if not, the leverage is going to get cut to 65 LTV. Even if the borrower has a great credit score and it cash flows really well, if those rental comps are too far away from the subject property, that's going to be either a cut in leverage, or if the appraiser marks the property as rural or remote, that also we can't proceed. So I try to do as much as possible on the pre-screen, so that way we're not ordering appraisals on rural or remote properties on DSCRs, because it's just not going to get through the system. And then as for the actual data points, your monthly rental income, taxes, insurance, HOAs, and just to go through the basic DSCR calculation, essentially it's your rental income divided by PITIA. So you'll hear that term that lenders say that a lot. So PI, the first PI, that's principal and interest. That's your mortgage payment. T is taxes. I is insurance. A is HOAs. So for example, let's say you have a single family property that's bringing in $1,200 a month in rent. You have $800 in monthly taxes, $100 in monthly insurance, $100 in HOAs. You have $1,000 in expenses, $1,200 in monthly rental income. That's a ratio of 1.2. That's, the main thing that the underwriting is looking for on these deals is, what's the DSCR? What's the DSCR? That's what they're asking. What's the ratio of the rents to the expenses on the property? Our minimum DSCR is 1.1. So essentially the rents need to cover the expenses with at least a 10% cushion is kind of the simple way to say it. And then for the highest leverage, in order to get 80% of purchase price or 100% of rehab funds, 80% of purchase or 75 LTV on a cash out, the DSCR needs to be 1.20. And then the very last bullet point on portfolios, we can do large portfolio loans. So we have an institutional investors that use our DSCR rentals, and we do very large there's really no unit limit to the number of properties. So it could be a 20, 30, 40, 50, multiple 100 unit portfolio. And as long as the DSCR is good and all the properties kind of are conforming to the program, you can throw in as many properties in the portfolio as needed. And I think that's about it, Jim. So nice little summary of kind of all of our programs and kind of how I look at things and the questions that I ask day to day. And hopefully that kind of little behind the scenes look at what I do all day, every day, kind of gives you a better sense of how we look at the industry, or how we look at loan scenarios from a private lender, hard money lender type perspective.
Thank you, Daniel. Anybody got a question for him? Oh, hands are going up everywhere, Daniel. All right, I think Drew, you were quick to the draw.
Hey Dan, how's it going?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good, man. Hey, what are your rates?
Sure. So fix and flips, I would say generally are kind of in the 10 to 12% interest rate range. These are 12-month terms, no prepayment penalties, interest only payments. DSCR rentals, the interest rate is kind of most impacted by the leverage and the loan structure. Obviously, a 50 LTV loan is going to be a lower rate than a 75 LTV cash out. The general range, I would say, call it like low sevens for lower LTVs, up to kind of high sevens, low eights, depending on the loan structure. We do have some kind of shorter prepayment penalty options. We have partial interest only options. So if you get really quirky with your loan structure, you maybe at a mid eights for a 1 year prepay, right? If you really don't want a 3 year or a 5 year prepay. But so I'd say kind of low sevens to eights on the DSCR rentals and 10 to 12 on the bridge loans.
Yeah, thank you. Well, next year I was surprised to hear you move.
Drew says he misses you, brother. You gotta come back for our party next year.
Yeah, no, I got to go back for a summer party for sure.
One of our newer members, Mr. Thomas, you got a question there?
You got a question. I'm in the process of refinancing a career project in Colorado Springs. Let's get hard. It's been about 6 months now. I'm starting getting quoted this week. My question to you is that do you count in place these as a rental income, or do you still do market rent? Suppose my rent is 2,300.
Okay.
Market rate might be, it just depends, different lenders have different requirements. So what do you go with it?
Sure. Good question. So I didn't catch 100% what you said, but I believe you're asking about market rents versus actual rents.
Yes.
So underwriting is going to use the lower of your actual leases in place and the market rent survey in the appraisal. So for DSCR rental loans, the appraiser is asked to calculate both an as-is value and a market rent survey. So that's, and I kind of do that as well in my pre-screen. So that's why, when I mentioned going on Zillow and checking the comps, right? If someone tells me that I have a single family house and I rent it out for $7,000 a month and I'm getting 75 LTV, no problem. But then I go on Zillow and I see, it's only houses are only ready for 2,500 a month. Obviously, I got to do a reality check for that person. But yes, to answer your question, it's the lower of the two.
All right, Miss Christina. I thought you with a mouthful, didn't I?
What is DSCR?
What is DSCR, Daniel?
DSCR is debt service coverage ratio. So essentially it's kind of that simple formula that I mentioned, where you're taking the rental income of the property and dividing it by the primary expenses on a rental property, which is your mortgage payment, i.e. principal and interest, PI, T, taxes, I, insurance, and A, HOAs. So rental income divided by PITIA, that's the DSCR formula.
There's no CapEx, there's no vacancy, there's none of that.
Great question. For single property rentals, we don't take that into account. Once you get into larger portfolios and once you get into bigger multifamily, so that DSCR equation that I gave you is a gross rents over PITIA, which is used for single properties and portfolio loans under 2 million and for 1 to 4 unit properties. Once you get to 5+ unit properties and 1 to 4 unit portfolios with loan amounts over 2 million, then yes, it switches to a net income over kind of, all expenses, including CapEx, vacancy. So yes, we have kind of boilerplate expenses that underwriting kind of uses. And I have, kind of our calculator and, when I have these loan scenarios that are bigger, yes, I'll kind of switch to my net cash flow expense sheet. Because yes, they definitely chops into the to the DSCR when you start chucking in all those extra expenses.
Anybody else? Nicole?
Do you offer 40-year term loans?
No, all of our DSCR loans are amortized over 30 years. We do have adjustable rate mortgages, so 5, 7, and 10-year ARMs, but those are all amortized over 30. And then same idea, we also have partial interest only. We have 5, 7, and 10-year partial IO loans. So essentially the first 5, 7, or 10 years are interest only. And then the back 25, 23, or 20 years are fully amortizing.
And when you take rental income comps from like Airbnb, like AirDNA or MaxPfizer for Airbnbs?
Good question. So we unfortunately do not underwrite to any short-term income. So we really don't have any programs for kind of like Airbnbs or Verbos. It's all long-term leases.
Anybody else? I hear crickets, Daniel. Daniel, thank you for joining us all the way.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah.
Appreciate the invite.
And like I say, we hope to see you back, at least come back for a visit. About that.
Absolutely.
All right, but thanks, sir. Stick around. You may hear something from Miss Nicole. Hey, we have this up every month. Morning. If you hang out with I could never say the word. Successful people. I just get too excited. If you hang around with successful people, they will brainwash you into believing in yourself and thinking you can achieve anything. And I keep saying we have winners in this room. We've got people doing a lot of good stuff. One of them's going to be up here tonight. So here's where everybody gets to play and take part in this. 30 seconds. Come on, 30 seconds. You can do it. I have faith. My name is, I specialize in, I need from the group, I can provide the group, and my phone number is, pins are ready for that phone number. Nicole, you want to show them how to do it?
Oh, sure, yeah. Nicole Clements. I own Blue Sky Realty Team and also Colorado Furnished Rentals. I have about 25 Airbnbs that I both own or property manage for my investors. They're not short-term rental, really. They're mid-term rentals. They're about 30 days at a time. I use these to help house relocation clients that are moving to the area. I especially love Californians that are coming here.
We don't hold that against you.
They make me a lot of money. I help them buy homes once they get here. So what do I need? I don't know. Maybe people that are interested in partnering with me. Why not? So I'm trying to get to 100 doors in the next 5 years. So whether I'm owning them or managing them, it's fine. So, all right, my number is 970-430-9451.
Last year, when a lot of people, I'm getting rid of my rental, she's like, don't, now's not the time. Like, you're trying to manage it, give it to me, I'll manage it, send you a check every month. So.
Nicole, one more time, the phone number. 970-430-9451. Thank you.
Another long time Rick member. He's been good because usually he'll announce himself over here as Al, and then I won't be looking, he'll be over here as Roy. But Mr. Roy, Al Fritz.
Good evening, all. I have been a part of this group for a long time, been a fix and flipper way back in the day myself, and back in 2018, believed that we were going to see another downturn in the market. So I'm going to be your negative voice in the room tonight with everything that's going on. That's great, but
Regardless of the topic.
yes, obviously I was wrong because the market has boomed for the last 7 years or whatever it's been. But I'm the crypto guy now because I still believe that our financial system is in dire straits, and I think we're going to see something in that arena this year sometime. But I'm also the fun guy, and I'm not gonna steal Jim's thunder here, but he is doing a who's ball thing next month, and you all have to be there for this. It's the greatest, the kick and fun game. That's right. It's the Cats Me Out. It's a kick and fun game. And we're gonna do this at the picnic. A partner and I put this together pre-COVID. And the day that we had our final demonstration with enough people to have a full team, the next day COVID hit and we couldn't have 9 people together at one place. So we put the whole thing on the shelf until brought it back this year. But you'll find out what whose ball is and come next month and enjoy us. My telephone number is 303-888-0057.
Thank you, brother.
You bet.
And that hoop ball is plenty. I think everybody covered all your have wants and OMGs.
We got the.
Oh, Chris, can you stop me back there, Chris? You want to do intro?
Everyone, my name is Christian. I do construction. Trying to do some real estate stuff. It's been a little while, so it's some small places and some places. 720-492-4814.
Thanks, sir.
Chris, what's the last four? 4814.
4814.
14. Okay.
Mostly residential.
I won't. All
Like
right,
home.
we're gonna run through a couple of training opportunities. Katie, used to be my partner in Inc. That helped started this family, the group of people way back in 2012. She does masterminds. It's very small groups, very focused. You will call her, interview her. She will interview you, make sure a match for each other in the small groups. And she has different sessions going on. I know she's posting a lot of stuff on Meetup right now, so vacation time must be over for her. So we're gonna go through, because we went a little long on that introduction stuff. I mentioned John Fisher Breakfast Club. If you don't know about it, you need to find out. I'm gonna record. And I'm gonna debating. I'm gonna watch. You've also heard that invest success. I'm gonna play this real quick video to kind of give you an idea of who we are.
Real estate is really about not only generational, it's reason to get what you want.
Investing in real estate is a great way to build financial.
Asking for me is. That's the airline. That needs to be.
Even not, when we teach how to stuff for business, you gotta be able to walk into office. Short amount of time, you develop that recap budget, and do it, listening. We talked about working with contractors, we found the houses, put an offer on it, contract, hey, it's accepted, what now? You gotta go find money, we help find the hard money, private money. Get the house closed, then we work through the process of pre-rehab, we help them find contractors and get that scope of work, that statement of work, and help them to be able to communicate that to different contractors. We're gonna be with you, understand the rights.
I think it's probably that would help that really. Because they teach you since the beginning, like me, that I had no idea like anything about it. They start from the beginning, from the simplest thing.
We're here standing shoulder to shoulder with you. We're gonna take you from day one to, oh my gosh, we sold it, we made money. Let's do it again.
There are a lot of options for local mentorship. That is one of the things that I really love when I found in Fast Success is that it is a mentorship and not just a recorded training program.
And in this neighborhood,
Tim's been around investing in the Colorado area for over 18 years. He knows his neighborhoods.
as part of the program, you have access to Jim and I. You call us, we'll look at properties with you, we'll deal with you, we'll talk projects with you, and we're behind you. They're not just another force that's gonna end up in the book. they take this every step of the way. There's just one color way.
One-on-one that we get with investment success. Are, I'd say 10, 5, 6, 7 properties a day at one time. You always come back to me with, this is good, this isn't good, this is the reason why. One-on-one is good.
We meet at actual properties in the process. We get to see what is going on the project. We get to learn hands-on how it is.
Once a month, we go out and do what we call a property tour. We go to 2 hours, and Tim will go through and teach about how to develop that rehab. We spend about 2 hours going through the house. Everybody has their shoe, working along. We agree on the purchase price. We agree on the ARV. We agree on the rehab. And then it's a good deal, and it's good. It's like, okay, who's getting? If the house is a good deal, usually our guys are making contracts before the standards.
They'll get access to our online platform, which has class recordings, deal or no deal calculators, project trackers, checklists, contracts, and everything else you can use to build your business.
I feel like I'm armed with the tools to really be successful. Come be our guest, you get to sit down on the first class free, no obligation. You get to interact with our network, people in the class, and hear their success stories, and then you have the time to make a decision and you make the choice. And I forgot to mention it earlier, but Miss Nicole here is one of our newer students as well. Let's see, let's keep moving forward. I want to spin it out. I'm going to keep it up here real quick. So there it is. If you got 10 first class, if you go to our website, there'll be a button up at the top that says join next class. You can sign up for free. And it, like I say, it is a regular class. There's no sales pitch. How many people are seeing 20 ads a day? Learn everything you know about real estate investing in 2 hours. I just put the laughing face on there. You go, ha ha ha. There's no way you can learn it all day. They're going to get you hooked and get you teased and say, sign up for our course, and they're going to fly out and somebody else is going to come in and teach it. But anyway, we're here. I've got 1, 2, 3 students right here. So I'm glad to have them here. And we're going to bring this Nicole up. As most of you may have been, I'll let you sit over here closer to the camera. Most of you were probably expecting Joe Scarice from Philly to come in and talk about different ways to use money and leverage it. If you're an agent, you were probably hoping for CE credits.
Bio break,
Huh?
bio break.
Bio break? We're running late. The door's right here, though.
No, just go. I'm going.
There's a tree right out there.
Yeah.
We don't factor in potty breaks. Where was I? Oh, anyway, Joe was going to be here to CE credits, but he's going all over the country promoting burr loans and stuff. And evidently he had a bigger fish to fry and the flight arrangements didn't work out. So we moved him to August. And in a panic, when I heard that he may not come, I'm like, what do I do? And I called this young lady right here. And she's like, I'll help you. So we're going to do something a little less formal tonight because I gave her such a short notice. Where we're going to have a discussion. I'm going to throw some questions at her. Hopefully you're going to throw some questions at her. And this is going to be kind of an open type group, popcorn style. That's what they say in Clubhouse, right? Popcorn discussion. But we're going to talk to Nicole, scaling your business for growth with a life balance. She's I'm gonna do my introduction. I'll let her take it away. She's an EXP agent. She talked about Colorado furnished rentals. She's a hospitable host. She's featured in the book here. Her and her daughter Alicia. Alicia's traveled all over the country promoting this book and stuff. We've had Alicia and some of her young how would you say, associates in the Clubhouse chat. And they're gonna have a big part of our summit come up because they're young guns. The oldest one of the 3 is, guess how old? 22. There's 3 young people scattered across the country. The oldest one is 22. And I think between the 3, they control 65 properties.
Almost 60, yeah.
Almost 60.
Wow.
So we call them our young guns, our rock stars. They're going to be a big part of the summit, which I'll talk about later. But Nicole's in here. The house upside down, she's not doing upside down numbers, but she flips houses. And guess what? Her and her husband get to spend time on the motorcycle. I just took her husband and her daughter and her son down to New Mexico for a big bike rally. They got to attend their very first Red River Bike Rally, and it turned out to be the very last Red River Bike Rally. Gang members went crazy, but we're gonna do some bike riding this summer, and that's our family there. So I want you to do a little introduction, and then we'll just kind of hit on all those points, and we'll see where we go.
Is this working? Can you hear
You
me?
know, here?
Well, you wanna check it? I don't know if it's working, but we can hear you.
Yell.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know if this is working or not, but I'm Nicole Clements. I'm really humbled to be up here to share my story. It's a pretty cool story. I'm a teacher by trade, and my husband was a steel detailer, so he helped, build steel buildings in Denver. Even though we were both professionals, we barely made it paycheck to paycheck. We came to Loveland, Colorado for an experience, and for who doesn't want to live in Colorado, right? So we got here, and our latest move before then was Missouri. We've been in 5 states. So we got here with big hopes and dreams and so excited, and then our dreams were squashed when we got here. The real estate market is so competitive, and we were VA buyers, and we just could not compete with investors and cash buyers and people paying over asking. And so our experience was we either were going to live in a hotel while we were trying to figure out the market, where we were going to buy, or we were going to sign a 1-year lease. Neither of those options really were what we were looking for, because if we signed a 1-year lease and we found the perfect house, then we have to break that lease. It's expensive. So we ended up living in our camper for what I thought would be 2 months, 3 months tops. It turned into 18 months.
Oh, wow.
We could not find any realtor to help us. Like, the realtors just wanted us to choose quickly. They'd show us 3 houses, make a choice. They didn't give us any options for in-between housing. And it was just so scary and so frustrating, and we were alone, and our kids were young. And so what I said, once I get stable, I'm going to create this. I'm going to create what I needed when I got here. And that's what I did. So when we finally got our new build house, we had to wait on our new build to be built, right? And so we purposely bought this house with a walkout basement, and we finished the basement, not knowing what to do. We knew that our mortgage was really expensive. We needed to offset the mortgage. So we're like, okay, let's put this on Airbnb and see what happens. I had never used Airbnb before. I didn't know. This was 2017. Finally, we got our house in 2017. Well, we put it on Airbnb, and lo and behold, within a couple of days, our guests started showing up. And we were so excited. And we were booked all the time. And our mortgage was paid for. And it just gives me chills, because for the first time in years, we could breathe and we had enough money. And so this went on for about a year, and we lived for free for a year. And we noticed, wait a minute, we're attracting people who are relocating to Colorado just like us. And my daughter was turning 18 at the time. And she was trying to figure out, what is she going to do with her life? And we looked at each other and we were like, let's get our real estate license. Maybe we can help people relocate to Colorado. We did. We got our license together. So that first year when we first got licensed, our little Airbnb out of our basement attracted 4 buyers. So we're talking $60,000 in commissions, plus our mortgage was paid for. So it was like the equivalent of about $80,000 is what this one little Airbnb did for us. We looked at each other and could not believe it. We were just so excited. That was a lot of money for us, So we're like, okay, so we've got this extra money. Let's go buy a second house. And here we are buying a second house in Colorado. We couldn't believe it. So we buy this second house, and we purposely bought this house with 5 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms so that we could partition off a portion of it, turn that into a 1-bed, 1-bath Airbnb. And then my family would live in the other part of the house. We took the first home and we turned that into 2 units, both the main part of the house and the walkout. And then we took our 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom in our main home. So now we have 3 Airbnbs going. We're so scared. We're like, oh my gosh, are these gonna book? They all booked. Over and over and over again. We had like a 95% occupancy rate, which is unheard of. And we were making money. And all 3 of them were attracting people relocating to Colorado. We couldn't believe it. So we were like, okay, I think we're onto something. Let's go ahead and go all in and go full force and go as fast as we can. But it's very rewarding for me to see my daughter, who's 22.
Yeah.
So she has perfect credit. She has no debt. Her car's paid for, her motorcycle's paid for, and she's looking at buying her first house at 22. And then she gets to travel. She was in Hawaii with Tony Robbins' son having lunch.
Oh my gosh.
We created this reality, and I'm here to just inspire you to create your reality. What do you want in life? Like, I didn't know I had this type of power inside of me until I had to do it. But now my children are just so blessed. My son is almost 15, and he's halfway through having his down payment for his first fix and flip at 15. This is what it's all about. It's all about helping that next generation get out of the rat race. I don't want them to have a bunch of student loan debt. I don't want them to have a credit card debt. And I want them to just be beacons of light to young people, to show people, hey, this is how you do it. This is how you get out of the rat race. This is how you live and thrive. So.
And that's why
Anybody can do it, the
Exactly.
right mindset.
And that's why we're gonna kind of showcase
Yep.
the young people at our summit. I think we're gonna try to have them in about 3 different spots doing stuff, because we're trying to say, hey, I wish I had learned this stuff.
Exactly.
If I'd have just learned it 20 years ago, I'd have had it.
Exactly.
But if I'd have come out of high school knowing like Gavin's gonna be doing,
Exactly.
I wouldn't be just now, I'd be on the beach somewhere. But
Exactly.
that would be it. But-
Exactly. Yeah.
You were in Belize.
Well, I was in Belize. But see, that again goes back to like you said, when you own your own company and you're the boss. I'm going to July for a week to go hang out with the grandkids and babysit for a week.
Exactly.
I was in Belize, I do trips.
So
It's like, I just kind of, okay, I need to double up for a little bit. And then
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a week, 2 weeks off. I went to, where'd I go? Costa Rica, where we go, Christian? St. Croix, last year, we went, I was down there for 10 days.
Yeah.
And, I went to Belize this year. I'm gonna go probably Panama next year. I'm gonna probably sneak a trip in to Argentina with one of my nephews.
So Puerto Rico, you gotta have that.
Puerto Rico's on my list.
What about Taiwan?
I've been there 3 times. I'm ready to go again. I've been to 25 countries.
Wow.
But being your own business allows you to do that. And there may be some lean times, but there's also some fat times. I enjoy the fat times.
How about Burning Man?
I'll go with you next time. Let's go to Vegas. We're gonna do it. Let's do it real. Let's go to
Yeah.
Nevada.
Yeah.
What do y'all think, y'all? How'd you do?
Get the opportunity to give. So I give a lot, and I never used to give, and it feels so good to give. I'm always giving, because my budget isn't so tight anymore. So I guess I encourage you to get to this point, because if everybody in this room gets to that point and you're giving and giving and giving, we change the world, right?
Absolutely.
And this is an abundant world. It's not a scarcity world. There's so much opportunity. What we're lacking is knowledge. And energy, right? You feel a lot of energy to do this. But yeah, get out there and just kind of like just live big, make a lot of money, give money, and be, good people. Yes, right. So, but yes, thank you so much for listening to my story.
Maybe you and I'll have to do a clubhouse chat. We did one of those with friends, and that went over real well. A lot of people loved what the young guys and gals had to say. So thank you for being up here. Speaking of clubhouse, we're gonna run through a couple things coming up. Thursday night, we're gonna be talking about VA loans. It's not gonna be the hype you usually hear on Clubhouse. I can buy 20 houses, 1 VA loan. We've actually got a VA loan officer here in the Denver area that's gonna be on there with me. That's all the stuff is free. Cover your assets are very on this Shauna Green. Shauna Green's gonna be talking about cover your assets. Cash flow, right here in this room, we meet here once a month, we have a good time, we play together to win. Just, it'll help if you got an iPhone, so you put the app on it.
Unless you're out of town.
Unless you're out of town. Oh, I missed one.
It's the only one I made, so.
Oh, you're here. Underwriting basics, a friend of mine over on the East Coast, she's gonna be joining me. That's another thing about Clubhouse. There's people on there all across the country becoming family and sharing knowledge. There we go, Puerto Rico.
There you go.
Miss Veronica will be with me in July. She's an agent down there. She lives down there. Ray went there and he's taking all kinds of, when we were in St. Croix, he was in Puerto Rico, and I think we were trying to outdo each other with pictures. But he found a lot of good stuff down there. So we're going to talk about that. Yes, I am going to go.
Is she actually gonna lead us? Or
If she doesn't show up this time, we're done. She missed twice.
3 strikes and
But Christina just came back from Puerto Rico investigating an investment opportunity, and I believe you're going back because it was so good. And flights are actually fairly cheap. So,
takes a while to get there.
who has been to any of our parties? He talked about the Who's Ball. I think you go to our Facebook site, or I think there's a video from last year. Us playing Who's Ball, Beth Hale getting one goal on camera. It is fun.
Who's
Yeah,
ball?
I'm not coming because you don't have good entertainment this
Our
year.
entertainment's out of town, so you don't want me there singing. I may try to find some. Anybody know anything like a single a cappella type person,
Oh, but the guitar.
a musician? I'm looking for some entertainment.
If nobody knows what foosball is, all of you guys have played foosball,
Yeah.
right? Well, foosball is with humans instead of those little men that you think.
You're the player on the stick.
You are the thing. That's where you get the foosball, human foosball.
We're gonna have.
Huh? No, you don't do flips. You just run back.
Just-
No, they go around.
We're gonna have barbecue catered, we'll have beverages there. And if you don't worry, you're not gonna miss probably fruit beer, because we'll have a keg there. I always do door prizes, we have fun, and that's coming up. There are tickets involved, 25 for members, $35 for guests. And we'll go back to North Moore Park. It's kind of between, it's east of here. No, west of here. Real good park. We pretty much had the place to ourselves last year.
Yes.
We will do that. Who likes baseball? 30 tickets. Or 30.
the Rockies.
Who's hanging out at Coors Field?
Okay, that's.
30 seats up by the rooftops. The tickets are $33, and that includes a $20 food coupon. So you're paying $13 for a baseball game.
And a pack of crackers.
And the fact $20 you get $20 you get 2 beers. Or a couple of hot dogs maybe. When I went with my wife to work last week, and they had $1 hot dog coupons. I got the $2. I got several of the $1 hot dog coupons, but I drank my coupons. But anyway, $33, 30 tickets. There's a QR code here. It's on the website. Sign up. You will buy your ticket on Eventbrite. I will pay Rockies. I will get the tickets, and I'll digitally transfer the tickets. There'll be no paper tickets, because with no paper tickets, there's no tax, there's no fee. So we're getting in the door as cheap as possible. We're gonna be upstairs. We have an area to ourselves. If you want to just step up a couple of steps and hang out in the rooftop, you can do that. We are there networking. Some people don't go for the game. They go to hang out with us. That's coming up. So please, if you're interested, get that before we run out of tickets, because he says if we go over, we might can get more seats, but they may be in a different area. So if you want to hang with the group,
Is it family friendly?
family friendly, well, we're gonna be by the rooftop, but I think the seats, I think young kids will be okay. Yes, I know, Shauna said that was her son's birthday, and she's taking him, so that's coming up. I was talking about the summit a couple times. Lisa's gonna be there, part of the group. She's gonna be our young guns. We're happy to announce that I think it was last week before Tim went to Africa, we met Mr. Dave Seymour, who watches AT&T flipping Boston. I don't think he's doing it anymore, but he was doing the show where he was going through Boston, flipping. awesome guy. Got to hang out with him in Philadelphia, got to talk to him, and he's a real cool dude. He will be here in March. Yes, it's in March, but we're starting now because we're looking for vendors, speakers, and sponsors. So if you're interested in that, by all means, watch it, and as soon as we put the tickets up, grab your seat. But it's going to start on a Thursday night with a happy hour, and the gathering for all the people that's got the VIP tickets. We're going to kick it off Friday morning, go all day Friday. Lunch will be provided. Friday night, we're going down 16th Street Mall. We've got the restaurant, we've got a private room, we'll have dinner included. Saturday morning, we'll do the John Fisher Breakfast Club. You'll go back over, we'll do all day speakers and events. Lunch is included again. Saturday night, we'll go back to Dazzle for a private jazz show and dinner. That's included in your ticket. Sunday morning, will be a bus tour around the area, looking at the good, the bad, the ugly. We've got it all. And then Monday, for those people who are still around, we're going to get a charter bus and go skiing. And then Tuesday night, we'll be here.
What?
When is it?
In March.
What is it?
Oh,
March
March.
for next
Yeah.
I forgot to go. He's coming in August. That really didn't. Cash flow. All right. It's coming up in March. March. 8th, second Thursday of the month.
Okay.
Next year?
It's less than a year away.
Is the
It's about
breakfast
9 months away.
Has the breakfast moved? Or is it
The
moved?
breakfast is still at Dazzle. The scheduled time that they think they're hopefully gonna move is August this year.
So how many days is that event?
Starting on Thursday night for the VIPs. It'll kick off Friday morning. The event itself, Friday through Saturday, Sunday will be a bus tour. Monday will be a ski trip. And Monday night, we'll be in the best success class. And then Tuesday night, we'll be here.
Who's this through?
So it's a week.
It's coming up. Well, he's not, well, here, one time. This was the guy who's supposed to be here tonight. He will be here in August. He will do CE credits. Cash flow. Here we go. This is one of our newer business members. The Miss Pamela Garrett. She's out on baby leave right now. She just had a baby. So. But she will be here. She will also be at the song. Here we go. There it is right there. March 8th through the 12th. It's being put on by Realty 401 as a national magazine that goes around the country doing summits and expos and Burr loans, Invest Success, Rig, and we're all gathered and connected on Clubhouse.
And how much is that?
It's different prices for different tickets. There's a low entry. There's like the VIP ticket. You can buy it just Friday, just Saturday, or you can buy what we call the golden ticket the whole weekend.
How much?
How much is the gold ticket?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
What do you think less than a golden?
Is there a website?
There is a website and it's on this flyer. If you want to click it, it's the Great Mile High RE Investor Summit invest-success.com. Go to invest-success.com or click on this QR code and it'll take you. I should have put it up there. There it is right there. Scan that. Christina,
Yes.
scan that. There it is.
Hold it.
That is a creepy picture of.
That is, very creepy.
Don't like that.
It's pretty
That is
doggone.
creepy off the Joe.
Down to earth.
I don't like the eyebrow that's up.
Yeah.
That's.
All right, I'll get a better picture. That's what he sent me though. All right, you get it?
You know the deal.
Huh? All right, you got it? It's on the stand up here. All right, what else? Hey, we're in a brewery. They're open late. I always say this every month. They don't keep me in JH out here at about 10:30. And then we move out to the parking lot and talk out there for an hour or two. We always talk about what? How to make money together, how to work together, invest together. Thank you for coming.
Real estate is really about not only generational wealth, but it's the freedom to do what you want to do.
Investing in real estate is a great way to build financial independence.
Investing for me is about longevity.
Invest Success is a year-long mentorship program that teaches people how to find properties, how to fund them, how to fix them, how to flip them, how to sell them, and how to invest in real estate. If you come with somebody like us, you are going to learn this within a year.
We take that person from, I think I want to be an investor, and we teach them how to set up their business. You got to be able to walk into a house, short amount of time, and develop that rehab budget and do it realistically. We talk about going through working with contractors. We found the house, let's put an offer on it, put a contract. Hey, it was accepted, what now? We got to go find money. We help them find that hard money, that private money. We get the house closed, and then we work through the process of pre-rehab. We help them find contractors and get that scope of work, that statement of work, and help them be able to communicate that to different contractors. We're going to be with you every step of the way.
I think it's a program that will help everyone because they teach you since the beginning, like me, that I had no idea, like completely anything about it. They start from the beginning, from the simplest thing.
We're here standing shoulder to shoulder with you. We're going to take you from day one to, oh my gosh, we sold it, we made money, let's do it again.
There aren't a lot of options for local mentorship. That is one of the things that I really loved when I found Invest Success, is that it is a mentorship and not just a recorded training program.
And in this neighborhood, the properties change in value every block. No guru from out of state's gonna tell you that.
Tim's been around investing in the Colorado area for over 18 years. He knows these neighborhoods like the back of his hands.
As part of the program, you have access to Jim and I. You'll be able to call us, we'll look at properties with you, we'll analyze deals with you, we'll talk through projects with you, and we will guide you to the right project.
They're not just another course that's gonna end up on the bookshelf. They take us every step of the way. They're just one call away.
The one-on-one that we get with Invest Success is just bar none. You know, I sent Tim 5, 6, 7 properties a day at one time. You know, he would always come back to me with, you know, this is good, this isn't good, and this is the reason why. The one-on-one is just amazing.
We meet at actual properties in the process of being flipped. We get to see what is going on a project. You get to learn hands-on how this system works.
Once a month, we go out and do what we call a property tour. We go to pick 2 houses, and Tim will go through and teach about how to develop that rehab budget. We'll spend about 2 hours going through the house. Everybody has their sheet. We're working along. We agree on the purchase price. We agree on the ARV. We agree on the rehab, and then we go, is this a good deal? And hands go up. It's like, okay, who's getting it? If the house is a good deal, usually our guys are making contracts before the sun goes down.
You'll get access to our online platform, which has class recordings, deal or no deal calculators, project trackers, checklists, contracts, and everything else you can use to build your business from the ground up.
I feel like I'm armed with the tools to really be successful.
Come be our guest. You'll get to sit in on the first class free, completely free, no obligation. You'll get to interact with our network of people in the class, hear their success stories, and then you have the time to make a decision if you'd like to join us.